Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Tonight we are going to talk about how to create, I'm going to show you and demonstrate how to connect a Spring Boot application with Apache Kafka and use the streams. Simply consume some streams and then get a lot of cool messages. So this is a kind of both getting up and started. How should you get started with Apache Kafka if you want to know more about it? And it's also hands-on programming on how to actually code the Spring Boot application. So let me just so we are on the same page right here. So first of all, what is Apache Kafka? It is a messaging system. So that means that you can create an asynchronous application, and asynchronous applications are much more stable and much more robust than synchronous ones, because if your application is down, then you still have all of the messages on the message queue. And in this situation, it's not called a queue, it's called a topic. So let me just get a pen right here. And so the situation is that we have something called Apache Kafka right here. I'm going to draw it as a database, so it is kind of an advanced database. And here we will have a topic. So one word that we need to know is the topic right here. So we have one topic right here. This is why we can dump some messages. So this has a name. So this could be topic. That could be mic 1 right here. That is the name of the topic. And that means that if we have an application that sends messages, this could be application 1, the server, it can then send messages to this topic right here. So that means that maybe it has some data it needs to offload, or maybe it has some request, that something that it wants to be executed. Then it can dump that message right here. Usually it would be JSON, so the content of that message would be JSON. Will be dumped on the topic mic 1 topic right there, and then you can have another application right here, which is the client or the consumer. So here we have a consumer application, and this is the one we're going to write tonight, or it is already written. I will just show how easy it is. It is very easy with Spring Boot. So this is our consumer application, Spring Boot right here, and this application right here, it actually it listens to a topic, and then it can stream. And get some Apache Kafka Streams back right here. So we are going to stream messages. Of course, you can also listen to the messages, so you get them one at a time. But in this situation, we're going to create something called a topology. Topology, that's another word you have to know. And a topology, that's like a plan or a program for what should happen to the data that you receive from the topic. And I say data on purpose because you're not talking about messages when you are starting up Apache Stream. Then you're talking about data instead, and you are creating something called a topology. You need to have at least one of these topology. This is one, and then you need to have at least one topology that defines what should happen. What should happen when a piece of data comes in on a on an event stream, and that event stream can be based on a topic, on the data that we get from a topic. So this is so the most, if you already know about Apache Kafka and you're used to getting messages instead from the topic, then this kind of works the same way. You still have an index, so you have an index right here. That is the index shows which messages has already been sent to this client that we have right here. So it has a client ID, and that could be Mike's client 1, so client 1 right here. So and that client ID is stored CL1 right here along with the index, and that is the message or the piece of data that you need to receive. That could be like 3. So this means that if you want to so you're getting these messages exactly once, and usually we say that we cannot get the messages exactly once. It is always at most once or at least once. That's what we usually deal with. But with streams, you can actually say that you get them exactly once, and that is because of the way that streams actually works. And it's also very it performs better than just getting the messages one by one. And that is why streams could be something also for your setup. And it does not differ that much in how to create your application and what to and the effort you have to put into it. So we have an index which is then mapped to your client. That means that if you suddenly change your client ID here to client 2, then you would actually get all the messages that you have already, or not the messages, the pieces of data that you've already gotten. It is actually messages. So then you would actually, then you could get all of these messages once again. So that means then you would also get message 1, then you would get message 1, and you would also get message 2 over here, and message 3 after, message 3 after that. So that is why it's important not to change your client ID. Another way is that if you really wanted if you want to get all of the messages again, maybe you had a bug in your program and you did something which was not which you were not meant to do, then you can go and then you can actually change this index inside the Apache Kafka server. But now we're getting very Kafka oriented and very Kafka specific. I want to show you how to get started instead. So I will just so let us how to get started with this. So first of all, you need a Kafka server, and the easiest way to start that Kafka server is with Docker. And if you haven't read it yet, then there is and you go, and I will add this to the README Markdown file also. I will add this, and right here we have the official Apache Kafka Docker image right here. And there's a lot of cool information right here. It says how to start it up, and data down a bit further down you will see how to use or compose instead, but you can start up very easily with this command right here. Then you can create a new topic like this. Then you can, you can run your Docker image like there as a container, and then you can go into your Docker container there, and then you can create a new topic, and then you can produce some messages, and then you can consume these messages. It's a lot of fun just to do that. So if you haven't done that yet, then do that, and then you can tell yourself that you know how to both send and receive messages from Kafka. Then when you're done playing around with that, then you will read something else. Then you would actually go to Apache Kafka's webpage right here, and then you'll learn about what is Kafka Streams, and why would you use Streams, and what are the benefits, and how to. Here we also see it here. We have the exactly ones processing semantics, which is very rare. And nowadays, usually you would have at least or at most ones. Then you have something right here that I actually found a bit amusing. They actually have some examples for Scala, and I do not understand why they have that, because if you look up how popular, but you have the Java example right here, and the code that we're going to write is or have already written is kind of, it looks a lot like this code right here. But if you look at how popular Scala is, then you can see it's only have a rating of 0.36%. So why did it not show a Kotlin example instead? So if I go show Kotlin, we can see Kotlin had 0.98% instead. So that was just, but that was just something that I was thinking about when I saw this documentation right here. Okay, and then when you're done with that, then you start up your Spring Boot project. There's a cool article from Beldung also that I would recommend you to read if you haven't seen that already. And I'll leave all of these resources in the README Markdown file when I'm done with this demo right here. So how to get started? So first of all, we have to start the Docker image, and I have created a package.json file right there, and here I can start my Docker container by running docker run. And now I'm exposing port 9092 because I want to connect to it from Spring Boot. And then I can go to this is Docker Desktop. It is actually quite cool. They have really made something awesome right here. A lot of things has happened this last year actually. The Docker model runner is also up and running right now. I made another video on that one. But here we can actually see the ports that are exposed, and we can go in and look at the logs that are being sent right here. We can also, if you want to inspect what it looks like, then we just press inspect. In old days, you would have to write all of these commands manually one by one, and you can also press exec. Then you actually go inside the Docker container, and then you can run commands there. So that means that you actually don't have to use the command prompt if you don't want to. we're going to do that anyway, because I've prepared it right here. And you can probably see that, so let me just clear that screen. Because we're actually going to follow what we're going to follow the guide from the Docker Hub, and the guide right there, it said that we could go in, and then we have already started the Docker container. Then we can actually attach to the container like this. So we will just go to, and this is just a Windows command prompt that we have right here. It is not Linux or anything, but now it's Linux because now we're inside the Docker container. Then I'm going to create Kafka topics, and I'm going to create a topic, Mike's topic right here. And then we'll press enter like this. And now this topic has been created. I could also send some messages. Actually, yeah, let us send some messages also. So go back, then we can send some messages. Test 1. Hello, Mike is cool, like this. And of course, these messages right here, those are just strings. So usually would have a JSON message like this, like message, and then it could be something like hello world, like this, and then in tag. Now we send some JSON. So now we have already sent some messages on the topic, but there was no one listening to that topic. So let's go look at our Spring Boot application. First of all, create a Spring Boot application with the Spring Starter, and you can do that actually through IntelliJ, but you can also just go to the Spring Initializer webpage, and then you can create it from scratch right there. There are some dependencies that you need. I've added the Spring Web for this demonstration right here, and I have used Gradle tonight just for fun. Usually I use Maven actually. And then you have to add the Kafka Streams right here, and then you have to add the Spring Kafka. If I add these two, then it's just so easy to use. Then we have Lombok right here. That's just to make boilerplate coding a bit easier. Then you can just annotate with a lot of weird stuff like SL for J. Then I get my logger. And so the first thing is we need to configure, and we need to say where is our where is our Docker, where is our Kafka located, and right now it's localhost port 1992 because we're mapping that one in right here. Then we need to give an application ID config right here. That means that this is Mike's stream 1, and we're going to try to fudge this to 2 very soon. And these two right here, I'm not going to go through that. It is how to encode the messages, how the messages are encoded, both the key and the value. You both get a key and you get a value. But I'll wait with this to explain this to another video. Yeah, just right now think about it as encoding, and if you don't know what it is, then just add these 2 lines right here. And what we are creating right here, this is our Mike's Kafka configuration right here. We need to enable Kafka Streams, we need to enable Kafka, and we need to set this as configuration right here so we can create our beans further down right here. We are creating one Kafka stream configuration. What this does is that this means that whenever we're using the Streams builder, and the Streams builder is something that's important to know about, because this is actually where you would set up your topology, the program that needs to handle your data that comes from the topic. So this is where you will define your topology. If you start up your application without having at least one topology, like we have down right here, then you will get an error. Your application will not start, and Spring Boot will throw a lot of exceptions. But we can also, maybe you can try that yourself. But it's quite clear. The error is quite clear, and if you Google it, then you will get the solution in a minute. Right away. So what do we do here right here? So we need to inject the Streams builder. The Streams builder is based on the configuration that we defined up here. And of course, usually we would have this in some Spring configuration, but you probably know that. And then this is one way to implement it. You can actually implement it in other ways. If you read the Baldung article, then they will actually say that you should just add autowired right here, and then you would not return any bean. But that's also a way to do it. Right now I'm returning a K-stream right here, just to return something. And then I'm defining, I say, hey, give me a stream, create a K-stream on this topic named Mike's topic, and it's consumed with the Certus encoder. I don't know how to pronounce it. And then then what we want to do is actually down here. I could have made this in one line, but now I spent multiple lines on it, which is fine. And then you get two values right here, and it's actually not v1, it's actually key. So here we do have a key, and then you would have a value right here. So you have a key and you have a value. And right now, even though I use map values, that means that you could map it into something else. You can also send it to another topic. But you don't have to do that. But that is one possibility. You can also create your processor as a new class, as another class, and then you can process it in another class, and then you can reuse that processor for multiple topologies, for multiple handlings of multiple topics. But right here we are just using lambdas like this. Or play around with it. The stream builder, it has a lot of cool methods right here. You can also filter out if there are some messages that you're not interested in. Maybe maybe you get a lot of garbage, and maybe you only need to handle 1% of all of the input that you get. Then you can just filter out all of the stuff that you don't like. So but there are a lot of methods right here. But we will not go into that in this video right here. I'll probably I will make more videos about Apache Stream and Apache Kafka. Apache Kafka Streams here, and also Apache Kafka in general. It's a very interesting area, and it just makes your application much more robust. Okay, so here what this topology says right here is that it says that take the message, print it out, so we can see what's happening. That is what this line does, and that is actually why we call this map values right here. And again, there are other ways to do that. There is also a processing method that we can use instead. But now we're mapping it. And we're just returning the key. You could actually return the value instead. Okay. So is there anything else, Mike? I also create a REST controller. We're not going to use that in this video right here. And then we have all of these things right here, which are outcome, and we're not going to use that right now. So let us start up our application. So okay, so we get a lot of output in the beginning. And look what we already got right here. So we have the key is null, and then we have the value right here, which is message hello world. Oh, that is awesome. Okay. So that actually means that whatever we send on that topic right now, it will actually end up, we will actually read it right away. It will be streamed to application. And we're happy. We're very, very happy right now. But Mike, what if we restart application? Let's say that we did something wrong. What will happen? Do we get all of the messages again? No, we do not get the messages because now we defined a client ID. You can see here right here. We did not get any. Now we did not get all of the messages because the index is actually pointing to after the last message that we received, and that means that there are no more messages that is intended for us. So if we want all of the messages again, of course, we could fetch. We can either create a new client ID. Let us do that just for fun right here. So now it's Mike Streams 2 instead. Then we rerun the application again. Yes, stop and rerun. Then we should get all of our cool, interesting remarks once again. And let us see the output. Comes there. Oh, we had to stop it first. Now we got all of it there, right there. Oh, yes, that is. So here we got it. Hello, message, hello, world. So now we got all of the messages once again. A more correct way is, of course, to set the topic to something more saying than, to go and reset the topic to some value that you actually need. But I will show you that in another video, not in this video right here. So this is the code. This is how to consume. We create a topology. And usually we would have this in a separate class, and we have a configuration as usual right here. And there are actually a lot of settings to tweak. Even though I showed you that this is quite easy. If you go look in the top when our Docker container started up, let's go do that. then we can see all of the properties. Here they are. So here, Kafka config, look at all of these properties right here. All of these properties is something that can be tweaked or set or changed. I had some log settings, there's also security settings. Yeah, so there are a lot of settings, a lot of things that can be tweaked and tinkered with. So that's actually it. But now, is there any? Yes, there's one more thing we want to do. One more thing we want to do. Now we want to stop the very normal error is to forget to actually set any topology. So now I'm going to outcomment this topology builder right here. Actually, I don't need to outcomment it. I can just remove the bean tag. I just outcomment the bean tag. Now this code right here would not be created on startup and should get an error. Another error is if look right here, it says actually here invalid topology. Topology has no stream threads and no global threads. Must subscribe to at least one source, topic, or global table. Yes, that is one of the rules. So we can subscribe to more than one, but at least one. Another error, which is normal, is that if you wrote if you're trying to listen to a topic that does not exist, that is also one situation, one error message, one error prone situation you can come out with. Let's see what happens now. Oh, now we got something else. Pending shutdown. Okay. And if we look close somewhere, then we will see that the topic, yeah, here we got the exception. The blah blah blah. One or more source topics were missing during rebalance. So if you get one of those, then it's because the topic does not exist. And another error is, of course, if you forgot to, if this bootstrap, this is a list of servers, because you can actually have multiple. You can have a cluster. You can have a cluster of Kafka of Kafka servers that are running, and then you can just mention all of them, comma separated string right here. And then then on startup, the library will actually figure out which ones are active and which ones are not active, and it will just pick the ones that are active. So if you have an incorrect, of course, if your configuration right here is wrong, then of course you don't have any. Maybe there are no active servers. That error is also clear. Let's say that I choose port 91. I don't have any servers running right there. Then you can see how that would look like, or what that would look like. Then we will get a then we actually get we don't get any hard exception. We actually get a lot of these weird annoying messages right here, because it does not give up. It will just try to reconnect. It will just try again and again and again to connect to one of those servers in the cluster. So here, just that's here, yeah. Let's go up here on top a bit. Node disconnected, blah blah blah. So it tries to connect, and then it tries again to connect. It tries again to connect. Node may not be available, and then it tries again and again and again. I guess that behavior is configured. I've actually not tried that. I guess that I've actually not had the situation where I wanted my application to totally stop on that behavior, but that's probably a setting. I need to investigate that. So there's probably a setting so where if you get that situation, that then it will stop the application instead of just continue with all that spam in the log and try to reconnect all the time. So that is what I've prepared for you for tonight. In the next video, I will show you how to also to send messages to Kafka. So then we have one application where we can both send and receive the messages from. And we'll use this, spoiler alert, we'll use this REST controller right here. Thank you very much for all of your comments, and have a great evening. Hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.